60% of Americans can't afford a basic quality of life. 45% have had to skip a doctor's appointment or a prescription because they can't afford it. 41% are living with medical debt. The American people are simply not making it. Not only is that crisis real, it is a crisis that Republicans promised to solve. Voters believe them. And now, after a 54-day hiatus, what are Republicans doing? They're voting to raise the cost of living. They're voting to make it even harder to get by. Not by some marginal amount. They are doubling, tripling, and quadrupling monthly premiums. And what's the defense? They are looking people in the eye and flat out gaslighting them. Costs aren't up, costs are down. Trump says, I don't want to hear about the affordability. Well, get used to hearing about it. You're going to hear about it a lot because people are feeling it every single day. People can't make rent. They can't afford their prescriptions. They can't afford to take their kid to a doctor. They can't find childcare, and when they find it, they can't afford that either. Grocery and utility bills are spiking. This is the crisis of our time, and it's about to get exponentially worse because the GOP's craven allegiance to billionaires over working people. The cost of living crisis is not fake news. It's not a perception issue. It is daily life for the people that we all represent.
Hey, what's up, America? Shit is not getting better for the average person here in America. Now, that's tough to say, but that seems to be the way things are going for most people. I'm not gonna lie, the average American citizen needs a $2,000 rebate check fucking right now. Car repossessions have reached an all-time high. Yep, an all-time high. Prices for food are nearing all-time highs. Housing prices are records currently and going up. Insurance costs are at record prices for houses, cars, and health insurance. And utility prices are expected to rise constantly and consistently for at least the next 2 full years. And that's if we're lucky. It could continue for 4 or 6. God only knows. That's the minimum they're expecting is 2 years. As a matter of fact, top economists are saying some of the only ways we can make ends meet coming up are if we own nothing and just rent it bit by bit. Or lease things and then when we're done, give it to someone else to lease. You'll own nothing and like it. That's actually starting to come true. Top economists in America are recommending that shit. I don't want to share my living space with someone else so I can afford rent. I don't want to share my car with strangers so they can go places and I can get paid for it. This is ridiculous nonsense. Prices need to come down unless you're trying to usher in universal basic income.
I love to cook, and as such, I go grocery shopping every single week. Pretty much every Sunday, I head to the grocery store, and I buy a lot of the same things every single week. And with that said, I can tell you, at least from my personal experience, all of this is nothing more than a lie, which shouldn't be surprising. But we are being gaslit. Groceries are not cheaper at all. A lot of things that I routinely buy have crept up in price for a while now, and dramatically so this calendar year. I'm talking items going up by $2, $3, $4+ in just the past 6 months. I really don't know what breakfast items they're talking about, but we must remember that there are so many other things in the grocery stores. Those of us who actually go grocery shopping, buy our own groceries, cook our own meals, we know what things cost. And we are well aware of the fact that he and they can tell us till they're blue in the face that things are getting cheaper. It's becoming more affordable. But we know the truth. And the truth is, no, it is not. I wish it were. That would be fantastic. But it's not.
Family, America's biggest problem is the cost of living. And family, I'm telling you this, without any fear of contradiction, because I have done my research so well, and I have noticed that the biggest problem right now in America under the leadership of Donald J. Trump is the cost of living. We are seeing many white folks now regret voting for Donald Trump as the president of the United States of America. Many of them are saying they actually regret voting him. They chose whiteness. They thought that Donald Trump would help them continue to enjoy the white privilege in America. And family, right now, many white folks are struggling in America. The cost of living is getting unbearable each and every day. The cost of groceries, very high. We now see that Americans have been denied food stamps for the month of November, even after a federal judge ordered Donald Trump, to ensure that Americans get this fund. He went ahead to oppose that, and he said that they should not be giving any funds. It's a crisis and that the government had shut down. Family, many Americans are regretting voting for Donald Trump. There's a lot of chaos in America today. And fam, the biggest problem, I'd confirm to you once again, is the cost of living. People are unable to pay for groceries. People are unable to pay for rent in America today. This has become a very big problem. We're seeing MAGAs regret so much. We're seeing the far-right white supremacists say enough is enough. America is falling into its shambles. America is falling. Babylon is falling down. And many white folks are crying right now. So fam, I want you to watch this video all the way to the end as we try to debunk these facts. Once the video is done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. And family, in a special way, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my subscribers who are supporting this channel by buying me a coffee. I do not take your support for granted. The link for buying a coffee is on the description box down below. Once the video is done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this video together, family.
Well, I don't know who needs to hear this, but those ACA subsidies are not going to be extended next month. They are going to expire, and millions of Americans are going to lose access to their health insurance. Let me explain to you why. Do you remember a few days ago when the Democrats caved to the Republicans in order to reopen the government? And they did so with the promise that they're going to get a vote on extending those ACA subsidies in December. The Republicans promised them that they'll get a vote, just reopen the government, and we'll give you the vote to extend those subsidies. Well, today the Republicans said, we will give you that vote, but we need stricter abortion restrictions in order to extend those subsidies. And what do they mean by that? Well, first of all, federal funds already can't be used to fund elective abortions. That means through Medicaid or Obamacare. It's called the Hyde Amendment. But there are certain states that allow for state funding to go to pay for elective abortions. The Republicans want to get rid of that as well. So that's essentially a backdoor national abortion ban, which they know not a single Democrat is going to vote for. So essentially means this is dead on arrival, because Democrats won't vote for it if that poison pill is in there, and if the Republicans can't get that poison pill in there, they're not going to vote for it. And Republicans knew this, right? They knew this because they had no intention of extending those subsidies. They want them to expire. They need that money to pay for those tax breaks for the billionaires. We need to give $40 billion to Argentina, right? We need that money. It needs to come from somewhere. So they need to cut things. And that just means that millions of Americans are going to lose access to their health insurance. They're not going to be able to afford it when their insurance premiums skyrocket when those subsidies expire. And you may be sitting here thinking, well, I'm not on Obamacare, so I'm good. Nope, your insurance premiums will go up as a result as well. So this will just result in more people getting sick and more people dying. But we have to stop pretending like Republicans actually give a shit about sick, hungry, dying Americans. They don't. And Democrats are just going along with it, or they just fell for it again. I don't know which was worse, but I guess Maha, right?
So the grocery prices here in the States are just out of this world insane. It is so expensive just to shop, just to put food on your table. But some of the things that aren't talked about as much are the products you buy that are from other countries. For example, this lingonberry jelly. It's just jelly, and it's from Sweden. We have Swedish night once a week here in my house, and this lingonberry jelly itself was $8, $7.99. And also, it was actually more expensive because here in the States, the $7.99 you see is not what you pay because the taxes are added on at the checkout. It's not included in the price in the sticker. which is another interesting, quirky thing about the United States that nowhere else seems to do. You know, everywhere else it seems that the number you pay is the number you see, which I'm partial to. It's not just these little lingonberry fellas here. I mean, I saw a jar of tahini last night. Isn't tahini just like sesame seeds that are just ground up into a sauce? That itself was another $7, and the jar was smaller than this. Cheese, which albeit is expensive everywhere, I think. I got manchego from Spain, and it was a small little brick, and it costs about $11. I know people like to say, well, just shop local and buy USA. Well, okay, that's cutting off literally the entire rest of the world of ingredients. I don't know if this is from tariffs, because tariffs are on again, off again, so confusing. And I think the grocery stores actually are taking advantage of this. They also know that we don't know that it's tariffs, so they just raise the prices because we don't know. And the new prices are just baked in. This is just how it is. And they never seem to come back down. I, for one, have become a vegetarian, not from a moral choice or not wanting to eat animals, just straight out of economics. Let me know what you've been paying for grocery prices lately and where you're at in the world, because this is just getting ridiculous here in the States.
Imagine making $160,000 a year. That's what the average income in the United States would be if wages had kept up with the cost of housing. Check out this cost of living breakdown for 1959 I came across, where the cost of a new house was $12,400 and the average income at the time was $5,000. That's nearly half the cost of a new house. Today, the average cost of a new house is about $410,000, which is 33 times that of 1959. Has the United States average income gone up 33 times since 1959? No, it hasn't. It's only gone up by about 12 times, an average of $60,000. And look at the average cost of rent in 1959, $97. Divide that $5,000 yearly income by 12 to get the monthly income at the time, $416. So your rent is less than a quarter of your monthly income. That's insane. I don't know about you guys, but my rent takes up about 60% of my income. Over half of my damn check. We are being robbed of a decent life that generations before us got to enjoy.
Ben Shapiro has a message for all of the Americans who are struggling to survive right now. If you can't afford to live here, simply get out of the country. He doesn't mention fixing wages, lowering costs, or making life better for working families. He just wants us to leave the country. Take a look.
If you're a young person and you can't afford to live here, then maybe you should not live here. I mean, that is a real thing. I know that we've now grown up in a society that says that you deserve to live where you grew up. But the reality is that the history of America is almost literally the opposite of that.
So that's what they think about blue-collar Americans, the very people who build this country, power the economy, and keep everything running. This is the mentality of an elite bubble that has never struggled to pay rent or never had to work overtime just to stay afloat. Millions of families in this country are struggling right now, and it's not because they're lazy. It's because the economy has been rigged against workers for decades now, while the wealthy cash in at record levels. Let's talk about what actually matters. Wealth inequality in this country is the worst it's been since the Gilded Age. The billionaires have never been richer, and corporate profits are at record highs. Meanwhile, wages for working class Americans have barely budged in decades. And what has Trump done to fix all of this? Well, of course, hand out massive tax breaks to billionaires and corporations. Now inflation is on the rise yet again because of his ridiculous policies and incompetence, squeezing working families even more. But instead of addressing any of that or holding the billionaires accountable, their message is leave if you don't like it.
Now they're taking away pasta. You heard that right. As if grocery prices weren't already expensive enough here in the States, pasta is now going to cost 107% more. And that's just what the store's paying, so I'm sure they're going to mark it up more for people like you and me. Because why wouldn't they, right? Pasta. Really one of the cheapest things you can buy. Here's the frustrating thing about this. If the price of pasta goes up, it's not going to go down. We have seen time and time again when grocery stores raise their prices because of supply chain issues or that one thing that happened 5 years ago. Whatever reason, they go up, they never come down. If you want to be real mad, okay, here's an experiment you can do. Think of your favorite fast food restaurant, one that you go to all the time, okay? It's really expensive now, right? Go in the Wayback Machine or the Internet Archive or whatever thing you can look up prices. Search the prices from 10 years ago. You will be flabbergasted. All of this inflation, all of these tariffs, all of these price hikes, they are killing me. It is death by 1,000 financial cuts where I live. I'm personally moving abroad. My girlfriend and I, we're moving to Europe. We couldn't be more excited. Obviously, that's not going to solve all of our problems, and inflation is a worldwide issue. But here anymore in the States, we're just tapping out. We can't do it. It's everything from the groceries, from eating out, to healthcare, to you name it. It's all just going up, 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 up. We can't afford it anymore, man. This cost of living crisis that we are all currently living through, especially here in the States, is going to be studied one day. I firmly believe that. What do you think? How are all these price changes affecting you? Are you eating differently? And are you going to miss pasta? I know I am.
I love to cook. And as such, I go grocery shopping every single week. Pretty much every Sunday, I head to the grocery store and I buy a lot of the same things every single week. And with that said, I can tell you, at least from my personal experience, all of this is nothing more than a lie, which shouldn't be surprising. But we are being gaslit. Groceries are not cheaper at all. A lot of things that I routinely buy have crept up in price for a while now, and dramatically so this calendar year. I'm talking items going up by $2, $3, $4+ in just the past 6 months. I really don't know what breakfast items they're talking about, but we must remember that there are so many other things in the grocery stores. Those of us who actually go grocery shopping, buy our own groceries, cook our own meals, we know what things cost. And we are well aware of the fact that he and they can tell us till they're blue in the face that things are getting cheaper. It's becoming more affordable. But we know the truth. And the truth is, no, it is not. I wish it were. That would be fantastic. But it's not.
Family, Donald Trump has messed Americans so much. Donald Trump has made the lives of Americans to be so difficult. We are talking about food stamps benefit. For the month of November, he's ensured in ways that he can, with the jurisdiction he has as the president, to ensure that now Americans are not getting their food stamps benefit for the month of November. And you wonder, why would a president make it so hard for his citizens to be able to achieve, something like food stamps? More than 40 million Americans fully depend on food stamps benefit, but he's made it so difficult for them to get it for the month of November due to the government shutdown. This is something that was actually passed even before the government shutdown. There is an emergency funding, more than $5 billion, that was already passed by Congress, even after a federal judge told Donald Trump that he should ensure that now Americans get their food stamps benefit for the month of November. He still went ahead to appeal that decision. And you wonder what type of president, enjoys when his citizens are struggling. And family, the timing has been very bad, because in general, the cost of living in America today is actually crazy. Family, living in America today is very expensive. And most Americans are unable, to keep up with the cost of living, because the wages are still constant. The cost of living is going high each and every day, but the wages are maintaining. The wages are stagnant, making life so difficult. Donald Trump has made life for Americans very difficult, and many Americans are crying right now. Most of them being white folks who overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump, thinking that Donald Trump would maintain the privileges that they've always enjoyed in America. White folks are regretting very much voting for a fascist leader. Donald Trump has proven that he's not the right leader for the United States of America. And some scholars are saying that these were the unprecedented times that many religious leaders used to tell us that America will fall. America will fall from its leaders. And family, many folks who prophesized America's falling are saying that these were the times they were talking about. Donald Trump is pushing America to its ruins. He's pushing America to its eventual fall. Family, this is very sad, because most Americans today are going hungry without eating. Because Donald Trump has decided that he won't be able, to pay some of these monies that Americans actually want, like the food stamps. Donald Trump has made life so difficult. 60% of Americans can't afford, the basic quality of life. Just imagine how crazy that is. 60% of Americans, the larger majority, more than half of Americans cannot be able to keep up with the cost of living, while the billionaires keep on enjoying not being taxed. You wonder what is happening in America. America is falling. Life is difficult. 60% of Americans can't afford basic quality of life. 45%, have had to skip a doctor's appointment or a prescription because they can't afford it. Just imagine, fam. They cannot afford, a prescription. They cannot afford an appointment with a doctor. They have to skip it. Something that would jeopardize their health. They do not have, any option but to skip such. Life is becoming unbearable. People cannot afford basic commodities like groceries. Life is becoming difficult each and every day. And at the same time, Donald Trump has decided not to give out, support, food stamps for the month of November. You wonder what is happening in America. America is falling in Americans' own eyes. They are seeing it fall. America is sinking, and most Americans cannot be able to save the country from falling. People can't afford rent. Rent is very expensive. Their prescription, childcare, grocery, and utility bills are going high each and every day. This is the crisis, right now in America. The cost of living is the main problem that Americans have in America today. Family, the cost of living is ruining everything. Everything is becoming expensive. Life is becoming unbearable. Most Americans are crying. Right now, the number of Americans having GoFundMe accounts are so many because they cannot be able to pay for their rent. They cannot be able to put food on their table, especially after food stamps were cut for the month of November. Family, what is happening in America? What is Donald Trump even thinking? Who are Donald Trump's advisors? Because, fam, what is happening? And for the longest time, people have been questioning, the decision that most white folks actually made choosing Donald Trump. Most black folks warned them even before they did that, but they did not listen. Right now, the number of MAGAs in America are reducing each and every day because everyone is being affected. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter your political, support. The real thing right now is the cost of living. Car repossessions have reached, an all-time high. Many folks, their cars are being taken. Their cars are being repossessed. Prices for food, housing prices, and insurance are going high each and every day. Americans are sharing houses. Americans are sharing cars to make it easier for them to be able to fund these bills. Once your car is repossessed, you choose to contact your neighbor and you start sharing cars. You start paying for the bills for the cars together for you all to be able to achieve maintaining your lifestyles. Because life is becoming expensive each and every day. Family, with everything constant, once the cost of living is going high and high each and every day, if the wages were to increase, it would mean that Americans should be earning $160,000 a year, for the average income if wages kept up with the cost of living. Family, just imagine. Every American should be earning $160,000 at least for a year for them to keep up with the cost of living and the housing rent in America today. Just imagine how crazy that is. How many Americans are earning $160,000 plus in a year? Americans have to work more than one job. They are working so many hours in a week to ensure that they can be able to provide for their families. Family life is becoming unbearable each and every day, and this is something that now is uncontrollable. The average wage has gone down 33 times, since 1959. Family life is becoming difficult each and every day. The cost of living is increasing each and every day. Americans are crying, explaining how the cost of living is becoming unbearable for them. Family, this is what I call the fall of America. This is the fall of Babylon. This is the most awaited fall in history, because many scholars had actually seen it coming. Many spiritual leaders had actually prophesied the fall of America. And family, to me, the fall of America is its cost of living. Many Americans are going hungry, food stamps have been stopped, and life is becoming unbearable. Kindly let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this episode. Do you think the cost of living is America's biggest curse? Let me know in the comment section. Family, like the video so that it can be recommended to other YouTube users, and I'd be very, very grateful. Lastly, I'd really appreciate if you all took your time to subscribe to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and I'd highly appreciate if you're watching this video, if you'd be a part of the 50,000 subscribers. Family, thank you so much, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.